Hey guys, yesterday we focused on adding fractions. Today our focus is subtracting fractions. Yesterday I showed you a video showing you how to find the easiest common denominator because up to this point in my life, I always thought that there was no way around it. We had to find a common denominator before we could subtract. With some research and trying to find some videos to show you guys, I learned that there is a trick, and that is what you just watched in that YouTube video is the trick of subtracting before you find a common denominator. So even though your graphic organizer says, are the denominators the same? Yes, subtract the numerators. No, make them the same and subtract. We're going to ignore this no line. It's still important to check the denominators because if they are the same, you eliminate a bunch of steps and you can just simply say top number minus top number, leave the denominator the same. You still may want to check and see if it is simplified or not, but you can just simply subtract the numerators. Now, for our examples, we are going to use the trick that was shown to you in the previous YouTube video. One example is going to be two basic fractions subtracted, and then the second example is going to be a mixed number and a normal A over B fraction. So let's get started. Example 1, we are going to find the difference between 5/12 and 3/8. So we're doing 5/12 minus 3/8. When we look at these fractions, we can see automatically that those bottom numbers or those denominators are not the same number. Now we can go into our trick that we learned. So we're going to first find our new denominator by saying 12 times 8. So 12 times 8 is 96. So we're going to go ahead and write our 96 as our denominator. I'm going to change the color of my pen here so you can see where we start. So we're going to now come up here to the 5, and we're going to multiply that 5 times 8. So we're going diagonally now. 5 times 8 is 40. And we're going to go to the next numerator, 3 times 12. And that's going to give us 36. So what we are subtracting in order to get our numerator for our difference is actually 40 minus 36, which gives us 4. Now, when you are actually entering your answers, you should want them to be simplified. The programs are going to want them to be simplified. So you may not know how to simplify a fraction, and hopefully you have the calculator that was on the supply list and you're going to be able to use that ABC button like I showed you in the short video before you started filling in your graphic organizer. If you are using that calculator, then you're going to simply type in 4 ABC 96, enter, and that's going to tell you that the simplified fraction is 1/24. If you do not have that calculator, then I'm going to need to show you the other way to simplify fractions, and I'm going to do that over here to the side. So we have 4/96 is our answer. And in order to simplify, we actually are going to need to know what number can we divide both the top and the bottom by. You don't always have to divide by the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor just gets you your simplified answer sooner. So let's say that I don't know the greatest common factor. I don't want to sit down and make T-charts, but I know that 4 and 96 are both even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide them both by 2. Because if a number is even, it is divisible by 2. After I divide them both by 2, I get 2 48ths. And I should know that 2 and 48 are both still even, which means that I can still divide them by 2. Oh, sorry, that's a funky 2. Let's fix it. So I can divide them both by 2. And when I do that, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 48 divided by 2 is 24. So if I don't have that ABC button readily accessible to, I can do the math and divide them by either the greatest common factor or divide until I cannot divide the numerator and the denominator by any other common factor other than 1. For our second example, we are going to have a mixed number and we're going to subtract a normal fraction. So we're going to say 3 and 1/6 minus 1/7. And it's important that you write all this down on your graphic organizer. That graphic organizer is going to be for you to use later when you're doing problems on your own and you need some examples. So we're going to have to turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. And in order to do that, we do denominator times whole number plus numerator. So 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. And we keep that denominator the same. So really what we're solving is 19/6 minus 1/7. Now we have a subtraction problem that is set up with 2a over b fractions, just like our example 1, and we can do our trick. So we're going to say 6 minus 7 . 6 times 7 is 42. That's our denominator. Starting with the number in the top left, we're going to say 19 times 7. 19 times 7 is 133. If you were doing this on your own, you could use a calculator or you could do scrap paper off to the side. And we're going to do 1 times 6 is 6. And then we subtract. So we have 133 minus 6 is 127. Now, 127 40 seconds. So 127 40 seconds. That is extremely improper. We do not want to leave our answers improper unless it specifically asks for A over B form. In this case, and in your practice in the next week or two, you are going to need to turn that back into a mixed number. If you're using the calculator, you do 127 ABC 42, and it's going to say 3 and 1/42. Now, if you do not have that ABC button, I need to show you what to do. So if we're turning an improper fraction into a mixed number, we can do that by solving a division problem. So we're going to do 127 divided by 42. And you should see here that you cannot get any groups of 42 out of 1. You cannot get any groups of 42 out of 12. So you're really dividing 127 by 42. And if you do that, you get 3 whole groups. And 3 times 42 is 126. And we subtract and we get 1. This 1 is a remainder and can also be written as a numerator over the divisor, saying that you had 1 out of 42 left over. Now that you've filled in your graphic organizer or copied these problems onto a sheet of paper, you are going to do the exit questions for today. Good luck.